Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to
Something else.
something else, Daddy.
This is Nicole Matara, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
Welcome to episode number 295 of Something Else. Feast your hair holes on this week's episode as we take a look at Mid-South Wrestling from May 11th, 1985 and Mid-South Wrestling from May 18th, 1985. My name is Arya, and joining me as always is the horror movie Jack Frost to my comedy movie Jack Frost. It's Trae. Trae, have you ever seen those two movies?
No.
A man turns into a snowman, and in one of those Jack Frosts, it's a family comedy, and the other one, it's a horror movie.
It sounds like a terrific premise both ways.
Oh yes, that like all-time great right there, you know. If your dad died, he came back as a snowman, how happy would that make you?
Not very.
Yeah. No, and keep in mind, it takes about 2 hours for him to figure out that at some point the sun will come out and he's going to melt. So, yeah. So we're here to talk about Mid-South Wrestling this week. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, we don't want to go into that. I was going to ask follow-up questions about Jack, but let's just move on.
So I have an update about the Northborough Inn motel.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yes. For those who watched my video and or my TikTok, because yes, I'm apparently on TikTok now too. I did not have a great experience at the Northborough Inn in Northborough, Massachusetts over the weekend. And I have a funny update about this. On the building, there were signs saying that it was part of Choice Hotels. And so I reached out. Yes, I reached out to Choice Hotels on Twitter to explain my annoyance with the things that happened there. And I got they replied to me and asked me to DM them. I did. Further explain when the details, gave them the address, all that stuff. They got back to me about an hour ago and told me that this hotel is not part of Chase Hotels.
Holy shit. What a fucking twist.
Yes. So that 2-star review I was going to write, because at the end of the day, I tried and I don't know. When I see a 1-star review, I just assume they're all Karens who are like, oh, this person didn't shine my fucking shoes, so I'm going to give them a 1-star review. This hotel was going to get a 2-star review purely on the fact that the staff was exceptionally, exceedingly nice. Like, you know, they were in a shit situation and they were so fucking nice and polite. And it's like, you know, I was going to give them 2 stars just for that. But the fact that they're hanging up signage to claim that they're part of a brand that they're not, that takes it back down to 1 star. You know?
What's the name of the place?
The Northborough Inn.
Do we need to induct the Northborough Inn into the Something Else Hall of This Sucks?
They're not worth it.
Okay,
You know?
let's hope you have us staying someplace better in Chicago.
Are we staying at a Marriott?
It was something like that.
Yeah. So I'm thinking it's a nicer hotel than a cheap roadside hotel 20 minutes from Worcester. By the way,
how was weekend of wrestling?
Restabus was fantastic. I said this on Twitter, and I'm going to say this again here. If Gabby Forza and Bobby Orlando are not signed to WWE or AEW in 2 years, it's because they don't want to be. They are that good. Their personalities explode out when you see them, and they're both pretty good in the ring. And I think they both should get the chance to be stars. And if I'm TNA or MLW or whatever, I'm reaching out to them now to see if they want to come on to our show for a while. And by our show, I mean TNA or MLW, not something else. Although I guess I could have asked, if they wanted to do this show.
I would actually
But like Gabby
love.
Forza,
I'd actually love to
go
talk
ahead.
to Bobby Orlando. And it's funny. I don't think I've ever actually seen him wrestle, but I know him from TikTok. Have you seen his TikTok?
I have not, no.
Holy shit! I'm gonna have to. I'm pretty sure I have like the first video that I ever saw saved. I'll have to send it to you. It is fucking tremendous.
Sounds good.
It was
Bobby
like
Orlando in general is fucking tremendous.
it was like it what he does on TikTok. It found me like completely independent of like I realized he was a pro wrestler later.
hmm Um, I'm also going to say this. I saw the WWE ID showcase on Friday night, and they have. I, I honestly don't know if any of them are going to be stars, but they do have some pretty good talent on the WWE ID program. And I don't know if they're all on Evolve or whatever, but like if you need another hour of wrestling to watch in a week, if these people are on Evolve, I check out Evolve. Um,
Who
I
needs
have
another hour of wrestling to watch every week?
Some people, hey, when I was a kid, I would have watched every available hour of wrestling I could. In fact, I did watch every available hour of wrestling I could. So there's
Uh,
probably a kid out there who's like, hey, I could watch Evolve, get that
do
extra
you
hour in on Wednesday nights at 8 on Tubi.
do you remember not
Um,
having shit to do? Wasn't that lovely? Wasn't that a good time to be alive?
I remember when Raw and Nitro would end on Monday nights and I'd be depressed because there was no more wrestling until Saturdays. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like forever ago. And I guess it was. It was like 30 years ago because, they eventually brought on Thunder and SmackDown and everything else to fill up the middle of the week.
Yeah.
But so about 6 months ago or so, um, I actually think it was less. I think it was January. I went to Wrestling Open in Worcester, and it was the first time I ever saw Laynie Luck, who's the WWE ID Women's Champion. And the first time I saw her, I was like, if this woman is the best female wrestler the WIP program has, they are in deep shit. Because she she was bad. But you know something? I saw her again a few months ago. Um, and I'm trying to remember who she wrestled. She'll be able to find us here in just a second. Um, it was a Alley Catch. I saw her wrestle Alley Catch, and it was a good match. And I'm like, well, it was a good match. I mean, she's wrestling Alley Catch, and Alley Catch is really good. So it's like, how hard could that possibly be, right? To have a good match with a good wrestler. Well, I saw her over the weekend having three very different types of matches with several different opponents, and that girl's gotten good. You know, I'm
This
just gonna say
is
it. I don't know. I don't know if she's gonna be much more, but she was pretty good.
and this is what who is it? Laynie Luck.
Yes.
Okay, I've seen her on some shows. She's
Yeah.
that name. She's done AEW jobs. I'm sure of it.
I'm sure of it. And if you have the chance to check out any of the shows from this weekend, they're all on iptv.com or whatever the hell the actual website is. I'm doing a horrible plug for it, but yeah.
I'm telling
Um,
you, I really
and
want to make a resolution to start going to more Houston area shows.
also Kylie Alexa. I know she's I believe she's with NWA, but I think she could be something. I think she wrestled in the NWA as Kylie Paige. She reminds me a lot of Alexa Bliss when Alexa Bliss was starting in NXT before she dove into being Bray Wyatt's second, and like in a good way, she reminds me of Alexa Bliss. I think she has something.
I'm sorry, you mentioned early Alexa Bliss, and my brain went to, okay, who was that fucking tag team? Gunner and Murphy? No, wait, it was the other and Murphy. Blake and Murphy.
Blake and Murphy, yes. Back when she went from being a perky cheerleader to turning evil. And what's with cheerleaders turning evil in wrestling? You know?
I think cheerleaders are there's something inherent about that. I mean, cheerleader Melissa was.
Cheerleader Melissa, I don't think she ever was. I'm sure she was a babyface somewhere, but she was a wicked
Well,
good heel.
You remember she had a whole secret life as a Muslim hit woman?
Yes.
Took you a second,
Poor
didn't
Raisha Saeed. Oh Lord. So Trey, do you remember the TV show Dinosaurs? It may have been a little before.
No,
Okay.
yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so they had a rip off of the Mr. Wizard TV show on it. I think it was called Mr. Lizard. And anyway,
That's tremendous.
they had a child, and every week the child named Timmy would blow up. And so Mr. Lizard would say, "We're gonna need another Timmy." And Bill Watts may have been the inspiration for that because we need another black guy. I don't know if it'll actually be the name of this episode, but
I had some suggestions I wrote down, so we have some options to work with.
I never thought I'd say this, but after this week, I was missing Master G.
Are you not a fan of the Snowman?
Frosty the Snowman? No.
I can't believe it's our second reference to a fictional snowman on the podcast this week.
Well, I don't want to say that was on purpose or anything, but ...
Episode title: Fictional
God.
Snowman references.
By the way, before we get going, 2 weeks from tomorrow, it is the epic 300th episode of Something Else. 3 hours of TNA reviewed by our three hosts, me, Trey, and Cindy, are all going to be here Wednesday, June 3, for the TNA weekly pay-per-view from June 2nd, 2004, featuring the first and somehow not the last King of the Mountain match, along with the first ever episode of Impact. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. And ladies and gentlemen, it's really quite simple. Plus, if things work out the way that I'm thinking it will, I'm going to have a special surprise on that show.
Oh, boy.
Yes. However, you might notice we haven't had a guest on here in years, so it tells you how well we're going with our special surprises. I think the last time I had a special surprise that worked out was when I added you two as co-hosts.
Oh, was I a special surprise?
I don't know if it was special surprise, but it was definitely I'm working on something for, I feel like it was our 100th episode. So you two have been around for a while. And by a while, I mean 2 years. Because
I've been here for a while now.
Yes. All right. By the way, did you hear the news about a former WWE superstar who might be coming back to the company?
I have heard such names spoken of.
Oh, I'm in case you didn't, I'm going to give you a hint.
Oh no, Baron! Please don't punch Miz in the face. Be terrible.
I feel like I may have misled people into thinking that could have been Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan will not be returning to WWE, at least to my knowledge, anytime soon. Baron Corbin might be going back to WWE.
Well, good for him, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like with a lot of people. They were better in NXT than they were on the main roster, but it's not like Hunter didn't have his chance to push Baron Corbin when Hunter took over. And like the last time he was in WWE, he was on NXT teaming with was he teaming with Braun Breaker?
Yes.
So it's like I mean, hey, if this is what Baron Corbin wants, great, good for him. I hope he goes and gets paid for a year or two. But you know, I don't know. I feel like creatively happiness, you're gonna be more happy doing what you do in Bishop Dwyer.
Well, a lot of people don't care about that.
That's true, and
I mean,
I feel like we're gonna open up a whole can of worms if we keep going down this direction. But do you have anything else to say about Baron before we dive into Boyd and Bill?
I have enjoyed what he has done more in the last few years than I ever enjoyed him. And I'm like, I saw like the tail end, that weird little period where I watched NXT for a few weeks. I saw like the end of the team with Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker. They were very good. And then like he's teaming with Donovan Dijak as the Skyscrapers and like MLW and CMLL. That's pretty cool.
Which I mean, not that they're not tall, but it's like, you know, we live in a world where the average wrestler's size is a lot smaller than it used to be. So Baron Corbin and Donovan Dijak at like 6'5", 6'6", can be the Skyscrapers.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Remember, like wasn't it like the 1998 Royal Rumble felt like everybody in was 6'5"?
Oh, I don't remember.
And then they sent out Kurgan and acting like he's this monster when like he's barely taller than the Harrises and all that fun jazz. All right. Well, let's go to the intro for May 11th, 1985 with a depressed Boyd Pierce and Bill Watts.
Fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and a lot of exciting action. You'll see the Dirty White Boys take on the exciting Rock and Roll Express. Also, we move into round number 7 of the Mid-South Television Tournament. The fabulous Freebirds are here, Michael Hayes and Buddy Roberts. Also, Ted DiBiase returns and brings with him his partner, Dr. Death Steve Williams, and they are the new Mid-South Tag Team Champion. I'm not as exuberant as I ordinarily am, and the reason, something has happened to one of my dear friends, and something has happened to one of your dear friends, and I just can't tell you about it, but the man that can, and with the particulars, the best that he can break, because it affects him too, Cowboy Bill Watts, the president of Mid-South Sports.
Well, thank you, Boyd. As you all know who watched last week and were, for the first time in history, we interrupted a Mid-South show and had a news bulletin. Today was supposed to be the semifinal of the Mid-South Television Tournament for $10,000. The winner to meet Jake the Snake Roberts next week for the final event. Today's event was to be Hacksaw Jim Duggan against Dr. Death Steve Williams. Two men that have had some brutal, exciting matches in the past. Both former All-American football players, both professional football players, both great amateur wrestlers. Hacksaw Jim Duggan will not be here today. May the 4th, the day before my birthday, we were in Jackson, Mississippi on assignment for the National Wrestling Alliance to tape a match with Ric Flair, the world's heavyweight champion. Since we had the cameras there, they covered the entire spectacular. In a main event with Hacksaw Duggan against Kamala, Skandor Akbar perpetrated the most horrible thing I've ever heard. And he put Hacksaw Jim Duggan out of wrestling. It was a deadly, premeditated, calculated move, the type that Akbar is so prone to do. I don't know if it's because of the part of the country he comes from where that terrorism is a way of life or what it is, but let us show you. And we've taken, this is the tape that we took to the board of directors to make our decisions. Let's first show you this tape.
Terrorism is a way of life for General Skandor Akbar, for people in that part of the world.
Yes. That's a thing that was spoken and left in the show.
I know you said this before, but can you imagine if Watts was a wrestling promoter after 9/11?
You know what? I think this Was Bill Watts' 9/11?
Was Akbar setting Jim Duggan's face on fire?
Yeah, I've never seen him so deeply touched and upset and disturbed.
I was gonna make a joke about how Boyd Pierce is using his Owen Hart voice, but it almost isn't a joke at this point. Like, man, that poor guy. And we're laughing, but Trae, this is not only a friend of yours, but a friend of mine as well. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Something happened to him, and Akbar lit up his face like a Christmas tree.
It's very rude.
Plus, what does this mean for round 7 of the TV title tournament? We're going to get to that here in a minute. And also thrown in almost as an afterthought, Ted DiBiase not only is back, but him and Dr. Death won the tag team titles.
Yeah, that was sudden.
Yeah, and we'll get more of that here in a little bit. So it's not quite as, whatever as they've already placed it here. So they show us a replay of Akbar setting Duggan's face on fire, and then we go back to Bill Watts, who tells us more, and then Jim Ross breaks into a hospital with a camera crew to talk to Jim Duggan. Let's go to that now.
Jim Duggan was flown by private plane to a burn center. They tried to save his left eye, and this is what they're still hoping has been done. They don't know about the sight in it. They want to save the physical eye, naturally. He's in a private institution, and they're not set up to handle, I know what'll be the outpouring of everybody's heart and feeling in support of this man. We'll give you later an address. Have your pencil and paper ready. We'll give you an address where you can send condolences and well wishes. I know he wants your feelings supporting him. We sent the Power Pro Wrestling and Mid-South camera crew to visit with Jim Duggan yesterday, and this is the interview he made.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you were with us here last week on Mid-South Wrestling, you perhaps witnessed the most sadistic, premeditated attack on an individual ever perpetrated by another wrestler. General Skandor Akbar's situation with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jackson Fairgrounds Coliseum. We've talked before we went on camera, so this is not a surprise to Hacksaw Duggan, but the doctors say that we've seen Hacksaw Duggan in his last wrestling match.
Well, Jim, I'm sure a lot of people understand, I'm sure you understand, that I've been active in athletics my whole life. Professional wrestling is my life right now. And after what just happened, and after talking with the doctors, they've come to the conclusion that I'll be out of professional wrestling for the rest of my life, and that I may lose total eyesight. And it's quite probable that I'll lose total eyesight in my left eye. But I want you to know, there's a big saying that big men are not supposed to be afraid or scared. Well, Hacksaw Jim Duggan is scared. I'm damn scared, Jim Ross. I don't want to lose professional wrestling, and I don't want to lose my eyesight. But at this time, it's all up in the air. I have my faith in God and in the doctors. We'll just have to wait to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have at this time. We will keep you updated in upcoming weeks on this situation.
This is the saddest situation I think I've ever witnessed. Jim Duggan, a man in the flower of his youth, a man that I'd seen grow, a guy after my own heart. And he'd learned to give of himself to everybody in Mid-South. He gave no quarter and asked none. And he would have fought fire with fire, but I think this situation was something even beyond his imagination. Again, like I say, we will have a number supered on the screen where you can send your cards and letters, and we will forward them to him. As president of Mid-South, I have terminated all contracts with Skandor Akbar and Kamala. I felt that that's the least I could do. I'm sure legal action will be coming out of it, but as of this time, those contracts are terminated. Now, for those...
Okay. So Jim Duggan has been institutionalized and is never going to wrestle again.
Oh, no.
Keep that in mind for like an hour from now. But honestly, I don't know, how much of this was makeup and how much of it was Akbar got really close, because that fireball looked fucking close. But Duggan was really scarred up here. Half of his face was shaved, and it looked good, for a hardcore angle like this. I do think it's kind of funny that like they're like, well, he can't, there's nothing he can do anymore in wrestling. It's like, why can't he be the matchmaker? Why can't he be, the commissioner of Mid-South,
I mean,
like,
have we forgotten who the fucking owner of this territory was before Bill Watts?
Leroy McGurk. He was
Yes.
fucking blind. Jim
Yes.
Ross could literally be driving Jim Duggan around.
Fucking me and Jim Ross driving blind guys around this East Texas area, I swear.
When are you becoming a referee? We got to get you into the wrestling business here, Trey.
I know, right?
And then, we're going to put you on such a crazy ass loop. You're going to consider quitting until you get a job with ESPN Rodeo. And then eventually, someone nicer, in theory, is going to take over the territory and bring you back in.
Aw. Are you going to take over the territory? That'd be nice.
Well, the problem is the person who takes over the territory ends up being a racist. So I don't know if you'd want me to take it over.
Well...
We forgot to mention this first time. Do you think it's ironic that Watts' birthday is Cinco de Mayo?
I think... Do you think that Watts knew that that's also Karl Marx's birthday?
I don't think Watts knows a whole lot about anything that at least has nothing to do with himself.
If somebody could give me Bill Watts' phone number, I would call him today and tell him that his birthday is the same as Karl Marx's, just to see how he reacts.
Make sure to have a recorder on so that could become next week's episode, because he won't shut up for about an hour.
Oh, I bet I could just say Iran and let him talk.
So, Bill, what do you think about the Russians?
Oh, shit!
That
might be awkward.
How about the Mexicans jumping across the border? Oh God, we'd really get that poor guy stirred up. He still has a landline.
Oh, definitely.
I do not picture Cowboy Bill Watts having a cell phone. And anyway, if you took a drink every time Watts says Duggan gives no quarter and takes none, you'd have 2 drinks, which isn't a lot, but it's notable that it happened twice. I wrote that Akbar has been fired and all of his contracts have been terminated, so I was getting ready to go on a little bit of a rant about how isn't Ted DiBiase and Buddy Landell, his man. I guess Landell hasn't been here in a few months, but also DiBiase was never officially. They were associates, but they did, when we rewatched this, they did specify it was just Akbar and Kamala. But also, what the fuck did Kamala have to do? Kamala didn't throw fire at Duggan's face.
I miss Buddy Landell. Hopefully he shows up on another show that we watch soon.
If I was a betting person, I'm going to say we're going to be seeing Buddy Landell really soon.
Awesome.
Yeah. Next week here in Mid-South, Buddy Landell returns. No, just kidding. So after that, we went to commercial. And by the way, the address that they tell us to send cards and letters to, I'm going to bet you $105 that that's Bill Watts' house. It's probably the same address as the Win a Date with the Rock and Roll Express address. So
I'm sure it's the office. Whatever. Like there's somewhere in Bixby that Watts rents office space to get mail at. I bet.
If you want Joel and Eric to read your letters that you wrote to Jim Duggan, send a letter to Jim Duggan.
There you go.
And the third kid that stayed out of wrestling, to the best of our knowledge.
Good for him. Good for Micah.
So after that, we are joined at the desk by the new Mid-South Tag Team Champions. And Ted DiBiase tells us what he's had to do for the last 30 days outside of the territory.
Well, I'm with the new Mid-South Tag Team Champions. They won the titles May the 3rd in Houston, Texas at the Sam Houston Coliseum. And, of course, Ted DiBiase, I know what you've just witnessed that has happened to Hacksaw Duggan. I doubt if you have condolences, but we will give you the courtesy of interviewing you as the champions.
The only thing I can say about Hacksaw Jim Duggan is that he's fortunate that it wasn't me, because I had something planned for him. I was given an unscheduled vacation, humiliated one more time by Jim Duggan. all I can say to you, General Akbar, is congratulations, because you did the job right and you got it done, which means Jim Duggan is no longer in Mid-South, and it leaves me undisputedly the king of Mid-South. Now, I told everybody when I left here, I couldn't even make a living here, Bill Watts. I had to go across the ocean and wrestle a bunch of foreigners and eat rice for 4 weeks to make any money. But I want to tell you what, I said when I came back I was going to come back in a big way, and I did. My very first night back in Mid-South, I got the best championship material I could find. Right there, Dr. Death, my partner, we are the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, which means you, Bill Watts, and Mid-South have got to do and deal business, do it with us.
I hate to interrupt you, but let's talk a minute about the championship match. I was in Houston that night, and I noticed, like everybody else, that when the match started, you didn't have the orthopedic glove on your hand. I think that was a tactical situation where you lulled everybody to sleep.
Bill Watts, everybody knows that I am the master tactician. I know that if I'd have worn that glove out there, Mid-South would have come up with some Mickey Mouse excuse why I couldn't wear it, so I didn't wear it to the ring. Even though I have a doctor's permission, it's legal, I can wear the glove, I picked my spot to put my glove on, and it paid off.
Let's look at the closing moments, and you be the judge about this Mid-South title decision.
I just love that Ted DiBiase, one of the most talented wrestlers in the world at this point, he loses a loser leaves town for 30 days match, and no other territory in the country will dare book him. So he has to go to wrestle foreigners and eat rice for 4 weeks just to make a living.
When I tell you that I was shocked that a man who would fraud public welfare programs in the state of Mississippi would have issue with foreigners, I was just appalled.
Allegedly to fraud
Allegedly.
foreigners. Him and Brett Favre and his good for nothing son. So we go to Houston for the title change, and we have to fucking listen to Paul Bosch. What did I do in my life to have to listen to Paul Bosch do commentary again?
What did Paul Bosch ever do to you?
Here's the only positive. They've realized that Paul Bosch on his own really fucking sucks, and so they put JR with him. And JR made this almost watchable. But Bosch talks more than Watts, and not only talk more than Watts, he just rambles. At least Watts, when he's rambling, we can get some drops out of it and call him geopolitical Bill Watts. Paul Bosch he's an old man who's being kept on, for his legacy. And JR had to scream over him mid-sentence in order to give us the story of the finish of the match.
Is this
which I didn't even write down? DiBiase and Doc won.
Is this because you're upset that you wish you were Gino Hernandez's dad?
Yes. I wish I, who was born a year and a half before a 27-year-old man died, wished I was Gino Hernandez's dad.
They did. Hoot had Doc pinned with a reverse cradle, but Carl Fergie was trying to get Ricky Morton out of the ring, and then DiBiase knocked out Gibson with the glove, and Doc pinned him. This was the finish.
Yeah. So let's go back to the desk for more with Doc and DiBiase. I say more Doc and DiBiase, but I don't think Doc says too. Well, I know he does actually say something here. So let's go to Doc and DiBiase.
Well, you're the champions, but the Rock and Roll Express are entitled to a rematch.
Any way you look at it, we're the champions, Bill Watts. Now, we're not going to wait 6 months like the Rock and Roll Express did to give us a rematch. We're going to give them the first available chance that they can to get the shot at these belts. We're obligated to do that. Now, if they don't do it the first time, Bill Watts, you know and everybody else knows, we are not obligated to wrestle them again ever if we choose not to. And we choose not to. That means, people, rock and roll is over, dead, through. And if I understand this right, they've got a match later here today with the Dirty White Boys. And I'll tell you this, if they don't win that match, then they're not the number one people in line for the shot, and they won't get the shot. We'll give it to the Dirty White Boys. And as Jim Duggan is no longer here, and this tournament was supposed to be finalized today. I guess my partner wins by default.
Since he
right,
had an unfortunate accident, Mr. Watts, and like I win every match like a forfeit, what are we going to do as Hacksaw as forfeited?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Mid-South is not going to let you advance to the finals without having a match. We've got you an opponent. We've got you an opponent.
What do you mean you've got him opponent? He's not here. The man wins by forfeit. We've already signed a tag team match. You're going to make the man wrestle twice?
That's right. He's going to have to wrestle twice. Either you're going to have to forfeit one or the other. But we've got a match for you, and it's coming up later. We got a new man that's impressed us in Mid-South, a man called the Snowman, and he'll be here to try you. We'll be back with the Dirty White Boys and the Rock and Roll Express after this announcement from our sponsor.
The fucking Snowman is here, ladies and gentlemen.
I yelped audibly.
What was that?
I yelped audibly when he said the Snowman. I think I said some kind of expletives to you when I got to that point in the show.
Somehow I just knew. I knew you hadn't watched the show yet when you hadn't said anything about the Snowman at all over the weekend. I'm like, Trey's gonna have something to say, I think, but yeah.
I don't really know too much about the Snowman, other than like I saw the Superdome match, I think, with Jake on the like Mid-South Blu-ray, but I don't know anything about him other than that.
He's the guy that pawned the USWA title belt allegedly for drugs.
That's tremendous.
Yes. Oh God. So yeah, in this fucking tournament, by the way, that had people getting buys all over the place, you can't just get a buy into the finals. Who do you think we are here?
But you can get a buy into the semifinals if you're a big muscly black guy.
Exactly. Brad Armstrong got a buy into the semifinals, and I guess he lost. But still, I'll be honest, I didn't know where this TV title tournament was going when it started, but it did not go where I thought it did. And Doc apparently has to wrestle twice this week. What the hell?
I was going to talk about that later.
Well, we'll get to it later here. So Rock and Roll Express versus Dirty White Boys. We don't have enough time to have a finish to this match. So let's see that Terry Taylor music video again. Freeze frame! These two teams have been feuding for what feels like months, and they never got to complete a match here on Mid-South Television until this week. I didn't look, but I'm assuming the White Boys must be on their way out of the territory because, again, they finally got to wrestle a match with the R&Rs this week and did the JOB.
So I kind of checked Cage Match to see if, like, because you remember that this was going to be like a tag title program, and then they were just one of the Dirty White Boys were just one of the teams that the Rock and Roll Wrestling on the house shows. They were also wrestling like Jake Roberts and the Barbarian a lot. But I have some very, very sad news to report. I did not notice. I did not check to see how much longer the Dirty White Boys are going to be here. But we got about 2 more Rock and Roll Express TV matches before they go to the Carolinas.
What? No. And I was about to say that I was a little surprised they lost the belts because there's no other babyface tag teams in the territory. Like we now have Doc and DiBiase, the Dirty White Boys, and Jake Roberts and the Ball Bearing, all as 3 fairly strong heel teams, and 1 babyface team who's apparently on their way out the door.
Well, next week we are gonna have a babyface team stepping up.
Oh, indeed we will. Indeed we will. So Dirty Dutch Mantel came out to watch the match. Maybe he's here to support his fellow dirty wrestlers. Morton missed a flailing drop kick to Len, which let the White Boys take over. Watts called Ricky a little feller. Gibson, who wasn't the legal man, pinned Denton, who may not have been a legal man, but I didn't go back and check, with a double drop kick.
See, I believe that Gibson pinned Tony Anthony, but I don't know who was legal man.
Gibson pinned somebody, and Gibson was not the legal man in the match.
Well, I believe you there. I trust you.
Yes, and I have the video queued up to the next audio timestamp, so I don't feel like going back to double check, because I guess I just do not have enough pride in my work, I guess. The Snowman versus Dr. Death Steve Williams in the 7th round of the television tournament for a medal and $10,000. The Snowman is black. Do I need to expound on this?
Not for me.
And then, of all the fucking moves Snowman could win a match with, he won with the fucking thumb.
I didn't put that together, but you're sure right.
Yeah, he's not the new Junkyard Dog at all. Oh, God. This Snowman push gets even better when you realize he is not here till by the end of July. Like, he is here less than 8 weeks.
Huh.
Yes. Mid-South is about to get really weird. And I don't know if it's going to be a good really weird or a bad really weird, but we're going to see it in the next couple of weeks. Or the next couple of months. There are some people coming in, and there's some movements at the top of the card where you're like, huh, this is something.
Interesting.
Yeah. Any thoughts on the Junkyard Dog versus Dr. Death?
I mean, Snowman's like a big, powerful-looking dude. He has a little bit of a receding hairline. I mean, we don't know anything about his personality yet, so I'm not gonna dismiss him out of hand. He matched power with Doc here, and he beat him quickly and decisively.
Yeah, the match, I don't think it went 3 minutes.
It did not go 2 minutes. It went a minute and a half.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, Doc comes back later on, and it's like it never happened. It's like, I don't know, but, like, I mean, it's not that he didn't know they were on the same TV show, because they made that part of the promo, but it's like he comes back later on, and it's like, well, that never happened, you know? This is a brand new Dr. Death Steve Williams.
It's fucking stupid. We'll get there.
I forgot to write it down when they said it, but at some point in the last couple matches, they announced that Ric Flair will be here in 2 weeks. So that should be nice.
I noted during this match that Watts explained that while Mid-South is an independent organization, they invite the NWA World Champion there because he's the best. Now, he did not clarify whether the NWA World Champion is the best or if Ric Flair's is the best. Both are valid cases. Both. Yeah.
So you're not saying that AWA World Champion Rick Martel was the best?
Well, he couldn't beat Ric Flair when they wrestled in Japan. It was a double count out, so he's obviously not better than Ric Flair.
Well, that means Ric Flair's not better than Rick Martel either.
Well, that's just like your opinion.
Fabulous Freebirds, and this next team is going to be especially funny in about an hour. Fabulous Freebirds versus the Boys from the South, the Alabama Junior Heavyweight Champion Mike Jackson and Brad Armstrong. Now, the Freebirds were Hayes and Roberts. And I had to point out, if Mike Jackson and Brad Armstrong are the Boys from the South, where the fuck are the Freebirds from?
I don't know, but the talent level in this match was like really fucking high. Like,
it really
Hayes is probably the weakest worker in this match, and he's fucking really good, especially in this period. Like, this was, they only went 4 minutes, but this was a tremendous 4 minutes.
And we talked about it. Michael Hayes is in a lot of ways an underrated wrestler because everyone kind of writes him off as, you know, the mouthpiece of the Freebirds, and like Gordy and Roberts do all the working. Hayes was really good. don't discount Michael P.S. Hayes.
Speaking of Buddy, I started watching World Class. He had just lost the hair match to Iceman and was wearing the headgear.
He did not lose the hair match. He won the hair match.
Oh.
And they just did not shave Iceman's head. They shaved his head instead.
So I've never really seen Buddy with hair, and now he has just spectacular blonde curls.
Which is funny because it looks faker than when he had a wig on. I honestly was I had to look up Brad Armstrong and cage match on this one because I thought it was weird that they said it would be a real upset if Brad Armstrong won this match. Now I know his partner never wins, but Brad Armstrong was North American champion not that long ago on this show. It should not be an upset if he wins over a team that's never in the territory.
Everybody forgot about that as soon as he lost it.
Hayes pinned Jackson with the Bulldog, and BA is here for 7 more weeks.
Yeah,
but he may leave at the same time Snowman does, ironically enough.
Maybe they go together.
Jake the Snake Roberts versus Mark Ragen. Maybe we should put Mark Ragen into the 8th round of the television tournament for a medal and $10,000. He is black after all. Oh God, I'm so getting canceled. This is the real reason I can't run for political office. This podcast.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Jake pins Mark Ragen with a DDT.
Watt said that Ragen was a Dynamite Kid, not to be confused with the Dynamite Kid.
Yes, who is somewhere between All Japan and the WWF right now. Or was it? No, he was in New Japan, right? Or
when did they jump? I want to say it was
around
84,
this time.
84, 85, I think. Yeah.
I mean, you're a pure wrestling historian, so I just remember Brett telling the story in his book that whoever was the backstage people were pissed at him or taking it out on him because the Bulldog screwed over Inoki.
Wasn't his fault.
Actually, I think it was 84 because then he talks about how they worked him by not telling him they were coming into the WWF when they did.
Yeah.
By the way, next week we're going to have an exciting new video on Brickhouse Brown. Just exciting, if I do say so myself.
Boy, is it.
Yes, indeed it is. Tag team champions, Dr. Death Steve Williams and Ted DiBiase versus Steve Casey and Ken Glover. Steve Casey sure has dropped down the card quickly. Did they find the same picture as Casey that they did of Brad or something? Watts complains about the WWF some more, and I was gonna play this. I had the timestamp ready, but because there was so much audio and there's a better complaint coming up later in the same match, I decided to skip that one. And we're gonna have a nice tribute for Jim Duggan tonight if we have the time. And then DiBiase submits Glover with the figure 4. But during the match, Bill Watts is just waxing philosophically about Ric Flair. Let's go to Bill Watts right now.
Mid-South is an independent wrestling promotion. We're not a member of the NWA, the WWF, or the AWA. So the world's champion we invite to come here is who we consider the best. And Ric Flair is a great athlete. I told you I saw him once go 1 hour with no fall against Kerry Von Erich, the modern-day warrior. And I've seen the champion of the WWF, and if he had to go 1 hour, boy, they'd have to put him in a pine box because he's a big guy. If you took away those certain things they take, he'd probably only weigh about 150 pounds.
That's nice of Bill to just flat out accuse Hulk Hogan of being on steroids.
I mean, to be fair, Hulk Hogan certainly was on steroids.
What? He told Arsenio Hall he'd only been on steroids 3 times in his life, and that was to cure, injuries.
Yeah. 1977 to 1984, 1984 to 1992, 1992 to 2006.
Well, don't you remember all the muscles he tore in his back, slamming 800-pound Andre the Giant at
Yeah,
WrestleMania 3?
Andre died the next day or whatever.
Yes. And do you also remember how teeny tiny Shawn Michaels held down Bret Hart at WrestleMania 16 or 17? And the crowd chanted, "Bret screwed Bret"?
Yeah.
You remember that one?
I sure do.
Thank you, Hulkster, for clearing that one up. Yes, Bill Watts. That was a weird way of saying that Ric Flair did a 60-minute draw with Kerry Von Erich. Ric Flair wrestled for 60 minutes without a fall against Kerry Von Erich. And in a funny way, that actually puts over Flair even more, because if you're on the inside, Kerry Von Erich needs to be carried for 60 minutes.
I bet, I'm sure that Flair and Kerry did go 60 somewhere, and I bet Flair hit the bottle fucking hard that night.
Wasn't there a story about him wrestling Kerry, for 60 minutes, and they had to come out later and say that Kerry had the flu or something because Kerry was doped up in his car and they had to pull him out, and then Flair threw the belt at Ken Mantell?
I think that was in December of '84, because I mentioned it when we got to that point on the World Class review. That was when they found Kerry passed out in the fucking horse stables in Fort Worth.
Yeah, and Flair still had to carry him for an hour. You think Ken Mantell could have carried Kerry for an hour?
I don't think Ken Mantell could hit water if he fell out of a fucking boat.
Pop. So we got our special tribute to Jim Duggan. Tell me a lie. Say that you won't go.
I know.
Look in my eye. Sorry, go ahead.
I know that I'm beating a dead horse here, but this was the video set to The South's Gonna Do It Again by the Charlie Daniels Band. And again, I just want to point out, Jim Duggan is from Glens Falls, New York.
We've seen this video almost as many times as the Terry Taylor freeze frame video.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And I think I came up with that Terry Taylor joke earlier before I knew they were going to play this. Did you notice that Boyd couldn't remember Joel's last name?
Oh, poor Joel.
Our friend Joel.
He's had at least 2 last names on this show, so
That is true. And he did go to school with Dr. Death Steve Williams.
What name do you think he used at school?
I don't know. Do you think Doc dunked his head in the toilet bowl?
Every day, probably. I would. I went to school with Joel. Lord. And I was a nerd, too.
Nerds. Bill Watts, I'm kind of I guess look at David Flair versus Ric Flair, but it's Bill Watts was a burly motherfucker, but Joel was lanky as fuck. Eric was lanky as fuck. I'm gonna bet Micah was lanky as fuck. And I guess of the 3, only Joel got into wrestling, or Eric was the only one that got into wrestling, so you would think he would have bulked up a bit, but I guess the genes at least skipped 1 generation.
Yeah, well, I mean, they got the height, but they didn't get the burliness.
They did not. They would not have been on, the front packaging of paper towels.
Eric's pretty tall. I never really paid attention to how tall Joel is.
I mean, Jim Ross is 6 feet tall, and Joel is almost a head above him.
Well, okay. There we go. Never really thought about how tall Jim Ross is either.
So you don't sit around at night, talking to your wife, going, "Wife, How tall do you think Jim Ross is?
I have not. I can ask her. Get some input.
I'd like to believe that that's how you talk to her too. Wife.
Yeah, of course. How else? Is there any other way?
Yeah. By the way, happy birthday to girlfriend. She turns 30 today, the day the show's dropping.
Happy birthday, girlfriend.
Yes. And yesterday was the last day I will ever date somebody in their 20s.
Hopefully.
Don't care what happens. Never again.
She slipped in right under the wire.
Yes, she did. She got in 29, actually 31 days ahead of time, because yesterday was also our month anniversary. All right, so let's fast forward 7 days. It's Mid-South Wrestling, May 18th, 1985, and JR and Joel, what's his name, are going to introduce this week's show, and it is a bit of a lengthy show. So let's go to the intro here, and we'll be back when it's over.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting hour of Mid-South Wrestling. I'm Jim Ross, and along with Joel Watts, we'll be calling the action here in a tremendous hour we have, highlighted by the final round, the final confrontation for the Mid-South Television title. Joel, it's a great card from top to bottom. Why don't you tell the folks about what we're going to see today?
Some great matches. We've highlighted by 3 tag team combinations that are just awesome. We've got the Nightmare and General Eddie Gilbert together. We've got Brickhouse Brown and Brad Armstrong together as a tag team. And I think most importantly, the new Mid-South Tag Team Champions, Dr. Death and Ted DiBiase, will be tag teaming together. Special feature, Terry Taylor is going to be demonstrating the figure 4 leg lock. I think that'll be real interesting. And the big one, the final round of the Mid-South Television Title Tournament between Jake the Snake Roberts and a newcomer, the Snowman.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, all that and so much more, and if you were with us last week, and we certainly hope that you were, you saw my interview with Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Burn Institute. I must say, perhaps the most difficult assignment I've ever had with Mid-South, a very tragic situation. Well, we've got an update with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I think you'd be very interested to hear exactly what he had to say. Let's let you see the interview with Hacksaw Duggan at this time.
Jim, it certainly is a much more pleasant surrounding that we're in from the last time that I had the opportunity and privilege to visit with you in the hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, I can report very positively and very happily that Hacksaw Jim Duggan will not lose his left eye, and we're awfully excited and happy about that, obviously. But ladies and gentlemen, the doctors did tell me that his left eye has perhaps suffered some irreparable damage. Only time will tell. But more importantly, to many of the wrestling fans, I'm sure all the sports world, they say Hacksaw Duggan's not to get back in the ring.
Well, Jim, you know, the doctors have their opinion of what should happen, of course, and I want to thank the doctors, as I want to thank everyone who sent in the cards and letters. It meant a lot to me. It gave me a lot of encouragement when I needed a lot of encouragement. But the doctors suggested I don't wrestle again, mainly because of one reason. If it happens again, there is no question about it, there will be permanent eye loss and maybe eye removal. And, of course, the main concern now is Skandor Akbar and what the man will stop at. So I had a long meeting with my family, who I'm very close with, and we all discussed it. And many of my good close friends discussed it. And, of course, the doctor's opinion means quite a bit. But this is a decision that I'm going to have to make on my own. My eyesight is just starting to come back now, and it's been quite a while and quite a painful experience. And right now I'm getting where I can see some images. But the most important thing is that doctors say with the proper care and the proper medication that I'll be able to get my total eyesight back. And the big question is if I'll get back in the ring or not. And that's a decision that's going to be a big decision for me, and I'm just going to have to take my time, and it'll be a decision that Hacksaw Duggan makes.
A very private decision, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jim Ross with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, reporting exclusively from Mid-South Sports.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to certainly thank each and every one of you for sending the cards and letters and all your thoughts and prayers for Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It really has lifted his spirits, and if you'd like to keep sending those cards, we will give you the address. It's Mid-South Sports, 116 West Breckenridge in Bixby, Oklahoma, 74008. And he really has lifted his spirits, and that's some great piece of news. And, of course, Joel, there is another side of the story, some bad news.
Yes, last week we announced on Mid-South that all of Skandor Akbar's bookings have been suspended. However, Skandor Akbar has counter-moved, and he has put the Mid-South Board of Directors at a stalemate. At this time, my father declines to make a comment about the situation. However, Skandor Akbar made some comments earlier. We videotaped them. Let's watch those right now.
What a horrible accident. You pulled a foreign object out of your trunks, Jim Duggan. You were going to permanently injure Kamala. And I did what I had to do. Let us put the blame where it will be on you, Jim Duggan. You are out of wrestling. It was a horrible accident. I do not know exactly what happened. But last week, Cowboy Bill Watts made a statement to you people that I was suspended and anybody associated with me and Devastation Incorporated. You are incorrect. In the first place, Watts, you should know that you cannot suspend us without a hearing. And I will have you know that we are back, and my attorneys, which is the best that money can buy, will keep on delaying and appealing, and that hearing may never come up, but until it does, we will be back and are back in the Mid-South. So I want you to know right now, President of Mid-South, you cannot suspend me or anybody connected with me without a hearing. If you do, it is a miscarriage of your so-called American justice, and you don't want that to happen, do you, Watts? So listen and listen good, people. The general is back. Nobody, I repeat, nobody can penalize a man of my pride and distinction. My resources, my wealth is unlimited. Watch, you should know that by now, that I am coming back to Mid-South.
I'll tell you what, Jim, the bottom line, no suspension without a hearing. It seems like that nowadays in the justice system, sometimes the perpetrator of the crime is more protected than the victim. And I think it's a terrible shame. My father's very unhappy about it, but...
well, that's unfortunate. That's the way the legal system is at this point in time in our country, ladies and gentlemen. But the more pleasant things, we'll be back with the final round of the Mid-South Television Tournament. The Snowman versus Jake the Snake Roberts. We'll have that for you right after this word from Mid-South sponsors.
So what do you think is more likely? That Bill had cue cards off camera for Joel to read word for word Bill Watts' thoughts on the legal system, or Joel just heard his dad say this rant so many times he can just recite it word for word.
Oh,
God.
That's, you know, flip a coin.
Oh, God. Here's the thing. In case you're wondering why this feud seems so rushed, there's a Superdome show in like 3 weeks. And they need to hit a hot angle. And, well, they went really hot, I guess.
Yeah. So they're like everything for that Superdome show, they just started on these shows.
More or less. I mean, they've been teasing the Ric Flair, Terry Taylor stuff for a couple weeks.
They have mentioned that before, and I guess they did show the Duggan angle, like the week before last. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like last week, Jim Duggan is probably going to lose his eyesight. He's never going to wrestle again. You know, he has half of his face shaved. And this week, Jim Duggan can see just fine. And, you know, he's not going to lose his eye. It may have suffered irreversible damage, but he's still going to be able to see. And, you know, we're not ruling out the possibility of Duggan coming out of retirement. Like, I know we talked about it a minute ago, but again, it was just last week he was going to be forced to retire.
Well, you can't grieve forever.
One can't grieve forever, and I guess when Jim Duggan realized he could shave his entire face, maybe that was the key to him deciding, you know what, let's give it a shot here. You know, maybe I can get back into this here.
I didn't realize that Jim Duggan had been clean shaven for any period of his career except for like the Team Canada heel turn.
I love that, and I don't know how true this is. I guess I'd actually have to ask Lance because I'd believe it if Lance said it. But Duggan once did an interview where he said that when he showed up backstage at WCW clean shaven and with his hair trimmed and brushed, people didn't realize it was him. They thought it was like a guest allowed in the backstage area.
That's probably true.
By the way, June 1st. So literally 2 weeks from now is the next Superdome show, and Jim Duggan is going to be wrestling Kamala, spoiler alert, on that show.
Well, thanks for spoiling it.
I'm sorry. I'm reading some of the other results here, and some of them are actually tremendous. There is one match, and I guess we'll see if they shoot an angle for this next week or something. There is a where the fuck did this come from match in the top half of the card. Like the bottom half of the card. Dutch Mantell versus Mark Rajan, The Nightmare versus Frankie Lane, Eddie Gilbert versus Wendell Cooley. Like, yeah, where the hell did these things come from? But they're just preliminary matches. There is a later half in the show match where I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Yes. Yeah. So do you think the reason why Jim Crockett went bankrupt and had to sell his wrestling business was because when he bought the UWF, he unknowingly bought all their debts, including the potential legal actions with General Skandor Akbar?
You know, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. Also, whose legal battle do you think ended first, Akbar's or Tammy's?
Tammy's may be still ongoing. I hear that she's still very involved in the legal system.
I hear Rick Rubin's been filing continuation after continuation. It's funny, like this program, this Duggan Kamala program is so rushed that I would normally ask, when did Vince Russo start booking Mid-South? Except if Russo did it, everything we've seen the last 3 weeks have all been on one episode. So there is that.
Yeah.
And I finish this by saying Joel is truly his father's son.
He sure is. Nobody's doubting that paternity.
Yep. Jake Roberts versus the Snowman in the 8th round of the television tournament for a medal and $10,000. They really suck at tournaments, don't they?
They sure do.
So Jake was being Jake at the intro, and I started wondering why Bill Dundee was walking by wearing a referee shirt and blue jeans. Turns out it's because Bill Dundee is the referee.
I didn't notice that, and I was baffled when they introduced special referee Bill Dundee.
Yes. So this time the ball bearing and Dutch Mantell came out to watch the match. Jake sold for Snowman's Greco-Roman knuckle lock like death. Snowman could not run the ropes. He could not take a backdrop, but he won with the thumb.
That's all that matters. That's all he's got to be able to do.
How long? This is where I wrote, how long do we have to deal with this schmuck? It's a good thing the TV title isn't a belt or he would have pawned it for drugs, but he'll be here until July.
I mean, you could pawn that medal, probably.
Possibly. Now, after the match, Jake said that his foot was under the ropes, and because apparently Bill Dundee did not believe him, he and the ball bearing beat up Bill Dundee until the Junkyard Dog made the save.
Huh.
Any thoughts on our new TV champion? Maybe we'll be lucky and it'll be like Terry Taylor and never be on the TV defending the belt.
It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I mean, he's a big, powerful dude. He's green. Jake had to use his cunning to do anything, and he couldn't do anything. It was not very effective at all. It was, I don't know. They're trying to do a thing, and we'll see. It's not going to last very long, so I guess it didn't work, or maybe it worked fine, and he just really liked drugs. I don't know. I don't know anything about the man other than what Arya has told me, and that apparently is that he liked drugs.
I was waiting for the return of Master G. Nightmare. I'm assuming Snowman must have played a little football at some point, but that probably goes without saying. Nightmare and Eddie Gilbert versus the Alabama Junior Heavyweight Champion Mike Jackson and Mark Rajan. Now, I did think this was really interesting here because if you remember 2 weeks ago, right here on this very program, Nightmare and Eddie Gilbert had a tag team match, and Eddie Gilbert was so confident in Nightmare picking up the win by himself that he sat out and did commentary. Well, Eddie Gilbert must have been properly afraid of Mike Jackson and Mark Ragen because he wrestled this match.
Mark Ragen is a Dynamite Kid. Not the Dynamite Kid, just a Dynamite Kid.
He's a Dynamite Kid. But anyway, Nightmare pinned Mike Jackson with a pile driver. It must have been because Eddie Gilbert softened him up.
Oh, well, the whole thing, that was just to make a point. This was like Eddie this week he felt like getting a workout in.
Yeah. All right, so let's now go to the first promo ever with our new Mid-South Television Champion, Snowman. And when we come back, Trey is going to translate it for us. Let's go to that.
Words with our new Mid-South Television title holder, the Snowman. Snowman, I'm very pleased to present you with this check for $10,000 from Mid-South Wrestling. You are our new television champion. Yes, sir.
It's on.
Okay. All right. I want to thank all the lovely people for being out here. And hey, $10,000. I can do a lot with it. I want it. I earned it, and I really appreciate it. My spiritual trainer, Boudini, spiritual to help me, Muhammad Ali. I've been training real hard. It's just like he said, sting like a bee and fly like a butterfly. That's what I did. A lot of people out here know that I can be DWC, Daddy Whipped Cream. So I'm gonna buy this brand new Cadillac and ride all these pretty ladies around, take them downtown, buy them some with all this cash money I got. I'm glad to be in the territory. I know it's tough, but wherever it's tough at, that's where I want to be at, baby. And I earn it. You know, I'm not scared of anybody. As long as I got these big guns, I can take care of my own self. Jake the Snake, he tried to take me out. He can't take me out. All this good thick chest right here, all this beef, these thunder cookers, he can't do nothing with it. So I'd like to thank Mid-South and all the lovely people for being here. I'm just so proud, man. It's a check. I need it. I'm going to do something with it. I'm really rejoiced over this. Thank you.
Well, we're really happy to have you as our Mid-South Television champion. The Snowman, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, a tremendous athlete, the new television champion, and we're going to be...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, later on tonight, this promo is going to be replayed in your room, this time in English. Trey, outside of telling you that he plans on buying a $20,000 Cadillac with his $10,000 check and then going off to buy the ladies something with it, what did he say?
Well, he's happy to be here and to have $10,000. He mentioned his spiritual trainer, Boudini, who I had to Google this, is apparently Muhammad Ali's spiritual advisor and hype man. So apparently that's the nature of there's a connection between the Snowman and Muhammad Ali that could be something for a Superdome show that we don't have much time to build something big for.
I just love that Muhammad Ali needed a hype man.
He said he stings like a bee and flies like a butterfly. Alternate episode title there. Something about whipped cream. And then he said that he was going to go buy a new Cadillac to drive the pretty ladies around in. So, man of strong priorities. And then he closed by explaining that he is very muscular. And then he reiterated that he is happy to be here and happy to have $10,000.
Who are the DWCs? Or what is the DWC? Didn't he say the DWC at some point?
I don't know. I thought it was TWC, but that didn't make any more sense, I don't think. Not to me.
Not a whole lot of what he said made sense to me at all.
Well, that's a fair point, you know.
To be fair, until I realized that he fucked up Muhammad Ali's line, I thought he said he stings like a bean. And oh God, where's George Wells when you need him? Come back, Master G, come back. I have some breaking news for everyone. Terry Taylor is the North American champion still. I had legitimately forgotten that he was the North American champion.
Honestly, so had I until he mentioned it.
So up next, Up next, we get what ends up being a very hilarious demonstration by the end of this show. They figure 4 demonstration with Terry Taylor, who is a bitch, a stooge, a degens, and the North America champion. And he's here to show us how to avoid the figure 4. And here to help him out are his good friends Steve Casey and Private Terry Daniels. And he kicks off Steve Casey, and he gives Private Terry Daniels a small package. And so
how do you know Private Terry Daniels didn't already have a small package?
I think Terry Daniels stood too close to the microwave to try to make his balls bigger, but it turns out that doesn't work in real life.
Do you think that that's why he's Private Terry Daniels, but he was a corporal?
Ha ha! It was an inside joke, like Private Stash. Yes. All right. So Dutch Mantel, I wrote Dutch, but was Dutch out there? Dutch, DiBiase, and Doc came out, except I don't have any other notes with Dutch.
Well,
so Dutch Mantel may or may not have been.
Dutch was already out there. Because
Okay.
he just likes to hang around and he's a voyeur.
He does enjoy watching his wrestling. They really should have put him on commentary if he's going to be out here this much.
That's true.
But Ted DiBiase gets in the ring and he has something to say. Let's go to the future $1 Million Man.
Wait a minute, Terry Taylor. I've had about enough of this Mickey Mouse demonstration. All I can take. Number 1, Taylor, you haven't worked with the figure 4 leg lock long enough to be demonstrating it to anyone. All you've showed here is a couple ways to keep from getting it put on you. You're after the world champion, and number 1, if anyone deserves a shot at the world heavyweight champion, it's Ted DiBiase.
Says you.
Yeah. You talk to Ric Flair, ask him about Ted DiBiase, he'll change the subject because he don't want to know about me, but that's not the point here. The point is, you don't know enough about the whole to be making any demonstrations. Regardless of whether you or anybody in this building likes me, they know that Ted DiBiase is a master of the figure 4 leg lock. And I'm here to tell you this. I got a man right here. Take a look at this man's legs, Taylor. I'll tell you right now, you can't put the figure 4 leg lock on those. You can't make him submit, Taylor.
You don't think if I put the figure 4 on him, yeah, he will submit or he'll break his legs.
Look at the size of those legs.
Strength and size doesn't matter. It's leverage and the pressure points and how it's applied. You know that as well as anybody.
Taylor, don't talk to me about leverage and strength. I know. I'll tell you what, there's a lot involved. Number 1, the size of the man's leg. Is he a tall man? Is he a short man? Where do you apply the pressure? That's the fine points. What I'm telling you is you can't put the hold on him and make him give up.
I know I can. Lay down. Lay down. I guarantee you'll give up.
Wait a minute. Lay down.
This was a demonstration before you got out
think Ric Flair's going to lay down and let you put the hold on him? If you're bad enough to go after Ric Flair in the world title, you take him down and put the hold on him.
I'll do that. You make sure you're on the floor and out of the way, and I'll do it.
I'm gone.
You get up. You got something outside.
All right. So Ted DiBiase not happy about this Mickey Mouse demonstration. So he dares Terry Taylor to put the figure 4 on It's Your Girl, Thor! Here, I thought I never would say that again on this show.
A figure Thor, if you will.
Ha So he tells Terry Taylor to take Thor down and do it. So DiBiase gets out of the ring, then gets back in the ring and whispers to Thor that we're trying to get Terry Taylor over for a world title match in the Superdome. So he punched Taylor and Thor put on what is not the worst figure 4 we've seen this week. More on that later this week. Taylor, however, was watching his Bob Roop tapes because when this show began way back when, 3.5 years ago, we told you that Bob Roop had come up with the counter to the figure 4, and that's to turn it over. And sure enough, Terry Taylor turned it over and caused Thor to submit.
Because that's a thing that works within the internal logic of professional wrestling.
You gotta love that, like wrestling is real, god damn it. It's on the up and up. But a move where the guy on the receiving end of it basically has to keep himself in the hold. That's what can really happen.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, DiBiase and Doc did not run in for the save. They threw up their hands instead of helping their new business partner, which, I don't know, tells me that this alliance, this scumbag alliance of Dr. F.C. Williams, Ted DiBiase, and Thor will not last long.
Breaking news, they rearranged the Facebook app again for no reason.
Let me see. I don't know. It looks the same to me, so I guess I have a update coming my way.
Yeah, yours is automatically update. I guess mine did.
All right, so we go to the back, we go to commercial, we come back from commercial, and tag team champions Dr. F.C. Williams and Ted DiBiase take on Steve Casey and Private Terry Daniels. This is not fair. Casey and Daniels just went through a grueling demonstration where they attempted to apply the figure 4 to Terry Taylor. And then what I thought was the funniest thing I'd seen on this program in a very long time, Ted DiBiase submitted Terry Daniels with the figure 4. Was he not just paying attention to what happened in the prior segment? He was literally a part of it.
Okay, maybe shit like that is why he was a corporal in the Cobra Corps and got demoted back to private, you think?
Makes as much sense as anything else, If I were Sergeant Slaughter, I would be disappointed in that young man.
I bet he is.
Yep. Hey, we never see Sergeant Slaughter on this program, so it's very possible.
Yeah.
All right, so we're scheduled to go to the ring for the ball bearing and Ken Glover, but Jake the Snake Roberts is very angry, and he has something to say.
In the ring.
Before the introduction, I have a little something to say, and you might as well listen to it, and all of you might as well listen to this. Before, when I came to this area, they pushed me to the back. They said, no, Jake, you got to wait your turn. Well, I waited my turn. I've done exactly what they asked me to do. I went out here and wrestled all the way through the tournament, just like they asked me to do. But what do, man? They slip a ringer in on me. This guy, what's it, Snowman? Let me tell you something, Snowman. You're a phony. You're nothing. You're not a man. You come out here, they slip the ringer in me. I don't know where they got the guy. They tell me, oh yeah, Boudini Brown trains him. They say Muhammad Ali's his spiritual leader. Let me tell you something about spirits, my man. All spirits are dead. I don't think you're the man you say you are, Snowman, but what I do tell you is this. Mid-South, I am tired of you ripping me off and playing your stinking games with me. I have tried to do it the right way, and the hardest battle I ever fought, Boyd Pierce, was the one that's raging in my mind right now, and that fire is burning. And if you want to teach somebody a lesson, I guess the only way to do it is to start crippling people. And brother, I'm telling you right now, I want you to hurt this punk. You understand?
This is the man.
So Jake Roberts has a point. He tried to play nice. I'll be honest, I got a little worried when we started talking about spirits, but it didn't go where I thought it was going to go.
Yeah. There you go.
The best part of any Jake Roberts promo, of course, is the Barbarian doing frog squats around the ring.
Yeah, that's a great addition.
I don't know. Watching John Noor doing frog squats is always funny. Jake, by the way, ripped his T-shirt, and I gotta tell you, I think there's a wrestler out there who can make a ton of money selling tearaway T-shirts.
I bet. I wonder if anybody will think of that.
Or do you think it might be a little too gimmicky?
Nah.
Well, the Barbarian versus Ken Glover. I don't know what the hell Ken Glover ever did to Jake Roberts, but Jake Roberts ordered the Barbarian to hurt Ken Glover. And Barbarian, I don't know, maybe he was being nice. He only won with the regular full Nelson, not the hanging full Nelson.
I know. Yeah, I noticed that too.
But Barbarian wins. Main event time.
I wonder how much longer he's going to be here.
Who, Ken Glover?
The Barbarian.
Oh, I did not look that up. I don't think Ken Glover lasts here very long either.
I bet this is his only taping.
That is very possible. Well, speaking of people and perhaps their only taping, Rick House Brown and Brad Armstrong took on the team of Larry Clark and this can't be right, Chan Chang.
That's what they said.
That is what the man said. Chan Chang. Now,
I just realized I meant to write that Chan Chang is the most Samoan-looking Korean I've ever seen, and I wrote my brain took over, and I wrote the most Samoan-looking Korakuen I've ever seen.
That don't make a lot of sense.
It sure doesn't.
Now, being the incredible reporter that I am, I did attempt to discover who the fuck Chan Chang was.
So did I.
And here's the thing. The internet tends to think that it's Kendo Nagasaki. Cage Match does not list Kendo Nagasaki having been in this match. However, they also don't list Kendo Nagasaki. He's wrestling in Portland at this time, but he does have a cage match gap when this taping occurred.
Okay, wait, hold on. Which Kendo Nagasaki?
Not the British one.
Okay, that was not Kazuo Sakurada.
I mean, again, not that you can believe everything the internet says. The internet said that they believed it was him.
I'm looking at pictures of Kazuo Sakurada, and I saw Chan Chang. That is not the Kendo Nagasaki.
The Kendo Nagasaki.
Well, there's like two, and he's not either one of them.
Yeah, I know. I just love that Chan Chang, Larry Clark, and Kent Glover do not have cage match profiles, but Mark Rajan does.
Well, yeah, he had like a couple of All Japan tours a decade apart.
I mean, Mark Rajan is a star. He also was he did some jobs on WWF TV in 1989.
Oh, did he?
I gotta say, though, it was funny when you see some of the people who were brought into All Japan and New Japan back in the day. Some of the gaijins.
Yeah.
Anyway, to the shock of approximately nobody, Brickhouse Brown won this match with a headbutt on Chan Chang. Then what was that?
Oh, I was looking to see if I had anything else written about it, but I just had what we already discussed, that nobody has a fucking cage match profile.
Yep. So Joel got to debut one of his famous music videos, and I gotta say, this guy is very happy. He puts a lot of work and effort into these music videos, and he takes great pride when they finally get to air. And he was a very giddy young man to introduce this music video set to, what was it, Computer Age by Nucleus, about young Brickhouse. And I mean, it was quite good. You know, it's your usual Joel Watts thing here.
Yeah, we were finally able to determine the music that Brickhouse Brown comes out to.
Yes, and indeed we are. And speaking of Brickhouse and speaking of Brad, they won a tag team title match.
Yes, the hot new babyface tag team, Brickhouse Brown and Brad Armstrong.
Yes. Brad Armstrong, who, by the way, last week lost the match on the show here, now is going to get a title match, or hopefully get a title match, I guess.
Well, good.
Yeah. And yeah, that was Mid-South times 2.
Yeah, double Mid-South week. Oh, boy.
Yes, that's usually a pretty good week for us here.
A double Mid-South and a TNA week for me because yes, if we have not already said on the show, I was called upon yesterday. My good friend Arya called upon me to ask if I could watch NWA TNA this week, and being the loyal friend and good soldier that I am, I shall be back tomorrow.
Yes. Because I felt that in order for Trae to properly enjoy TNA, in 2 weeks, and to properly compare and contrast the King of the Mountain match to another wacky TNA gimmick match, he had to be on this week to review the Deadly Draw tomorrow with AJ Styles, Chris Harris, Raven, and Ron Killings for the NWA World Heavyweight title. In a really goofy fucking match.
I'm actually annoyed because I was already gonna be back for the 300 show or whatever, and then I watched this show, and there's one show in between, and now I know, and I have to watch it because it's the World X Cup.
Yes, I mean technically it's non-canon. You don't have to watch the World X Cup show.
Fucking hate that shit. There's no fucking canon in pro wrestling. If it happens in front of fans, it is fucking canon.
So what about like that entire pandemic era?
Sure.
But you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to say nothing that occurs in the World X Cup will matter to the show, but generally speaking, nothing that happens in the World X Cup is going to matter to TNA.
It matters to me.
I mean, it's going to be 2 fun hours of wrestling. And so, hey, if you want to watch World X Cup and come on the show Sunday with Cindy and I to talk about it, it might be a nice warm-up for our 300th episode. But if not, that's fine. You don't have to do it. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
And burn it.
Yes. Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu are going to engage in tribal combat at the next WWE pay-per-view.
All right.
Yes. Because I guess the Usos have officially aligned with Roman Reigns, and that has pissed off LA Knight for some reason. I don't know what the hell LA Knight has to do with it, but LA Knight is pissed about it.
Wasn't LA Knight always pissed in Filthy Tom's TNA reviews? Wasn't he the one?
Probably, but I never listened to those. So
I loved it. It was like the period of TNA that I didn't watch at all, but I would listen to and I don't think Brian watched it either, but I would listen to Tom review it with Brian. It was very funny.
Honestly, it was when I started writing the NXT reviews that I realized Dave Meltzer did not watch everything, because I messed something up in my written report and he reported it in the Observer.
Yeah.
So,
oof.
Yes, back in the day before people ripped on Dave for messing things up, I was the direct causation of him messing something up, and nobody noticed except me, because again, who the fuck watched NXT at the time other than me?
Do you remember when I was like, for some reason, I was looking up like old NXT reviews from like 10 years ago, and I found one and it pissed me off, and I looked who wrote it, and then I came and yelled at you?
I don't. But do you remember what it was about?
I don't remember what it was about specifically. I just remember reading it and getting annoyed by it and looking at who wrote it. God damn it.
The fuck did Arya say about this? Now, out of curiosity, was it 10 years ago you read an old NXT report, meaning 12, 13, 14 years ago? Or that 10 years ago you read something I wrote 10 years ago and got pissed about it?
It was about a year ago, and it was something from like 2015, 2016.
Damn. I do not remember that.
I think it was probably something to do with like the time they did like a couple of shows in Japan.
And I said that, and I probably said something like, "It was fun but meaningless."
I don't know. I don't remember.
I just remember if that's around the same time they did those two Samoa Joe Shinsuke Nakamura title changes, like on back-to-back weeks. One was in Australia, one was in Japan, and it's like they showed the beginning and end of both matches on the regular NXT show, and then did the full 2-hour shows showing the full Samoa Joe Shinsuke Nakamura matches, including the middle part that they skipped out. And it's like, I didn't feel like I missed anything by not seeing that middle part the first time.
You were mostly right. You remember it? Joe beat Nakamura for the title at the takeover in like Toronto Survivor Series weekend, so Nakamura could win it back in Japan. And then I think like the next week in Australia they did a rematch. It was, I think, a cage match.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah. King is dead, long live the new king. Because Joe had beaten Finn Balor. Wasn't that how it happened? Joe beat Finn Balor at a house show. And then Joe lost to Nakamura, who lost to Joe, who lost to Nakamura, who lost to Joe. It's like the only time they ever did those flash back and forth NXT title changes. Because like before that, the shortest champion was Sami Zayn, who won at NXT TakeOver R Evolution, and then lost it at NXT TakeOver Rival.
Yeah, Nakamura did not lose it back to Joe. He lost it to Bobby Roode.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I was there for that. That was San Antonio.
Nice. The Alamo Dome Royal Rumble. Well, the second Alamo Dome Royal Rumble. They've done 3 of them.
Oh yeah, I was at one of them.
So you were not at the 1997 with Bret Hart eliminating Steve Austin, and the referee did not see it?
I wasn't. That might have been a better Royal Rumble than the one I saw.
I remember as a kid, I was not enthralled by that. I will say the finish of the 1997 Royal Rumble was a masterpiece. The way like there were so many moving parts. And like I think the reason why I didn't like it was because it was so bang, 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 so fast it was suddenly over. But it's like you go back and you rewatch it, and it's like the finish, like it was a masterpiece. It was a piece of art. Everyone did their spots perfectly, which is all you ask for, really. And it set up so much for the future.
Yeah.
And then Shawn Michaels had the flu and still had to wrestle Sid.
Oh, did he have the flu?
What was that?
Did he have, like, you said, you were saying something about Shawn Michaels and you said he had the flu, but I was like, because it was about Shawn Michaels, I assumed he had the flu in the same way that, like, his knee was messed up. But he actually had the flu.
I believe he did. I mean, that's what's always been reported. And he had to wrestle Sid to win the title back with the flu. Can you imagine? We were talking about him and Vader and him getting the title on Sid because he didn't want to get stiff by Vader. Can you imagine him having to wrestle Vader with the attitude that Shawn Michaels had at the time? And he's fucking sick. We might have had a shoot on pay-per-view, and who knows how that might have gone. I mean, I'd like to think Vader would have whooped Shawn Michaels' ass, but Vader may have held back if Shawn got really pissed off and started throwing some live rounds.
Now, is it having the flu like Kerry Von Erich had the flu?
No, this was a legitimate flu.
Okay.
He apparently was like sleeping in Vince's office all day to try to, regain his health. And the match, not saying, Sid is like the greatest wrestler of all time, but like the Shawn Sid match was the worst I think they'd ever had, and Shawn could usually get at least a decent match out of him.
The Survivor Series match is fucking great.
It was. And there was that match on the first Raw that went head-to-head with Nitro, that was pretty good. I don't want to alarm anybody, but Shawn Michaels was really good at professional wrestling.
Yeah, you say whatever else you can about the fellow. He is he was great at that.
Unless the only match you've ever seen him in was that match with him and Hunter versus Undertaker and Kane in Saudi Arabia. That is not an example of a good Shawn Michaels match.
That Saudi payday though.
Yep. I mean, I don't know. Like, the fucking Saudi shows were cursed when they were just like bringing in one legend after another. And hey, if the Saudi prince wanted to give me $20 million, I'd find a fat guy to be Yokozuna too.
Oh, yeah.
I would try though not to leave Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows behind. That might cause problems.
Oh, yeah.
Oh Lord. We love you, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, whose names I almost mixed up there.
We sure do.
Yep. All right. So yeah, we're gonna be back tomorrow with TNA, back Thursday with Smoky Mountain. Then we're gonna do it all over again next week, and then do it all over again the week after that, and do it all over again the week after that, and do it all over again the week after that. And Trey's gonna murder me at some point. It's bound to happen.
And on and on and on it goes.
I was just looking at my drop board, and it reminded me of something that's going to happen tomorrow on Impact, or tomorrow on TNA. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.